Well, here's a question. What does an old school prog rocker and a former Muslim turned atheist have in common? Well, what it is can help anyone who's interested in faith issues and seeking truth but doesn't know quite how to go about it. Kerry Livgren was one of the premier prog rockers in the 1970s and 1980s. Now, he's still producing music, and he really is a genius-level musician. He was the primary songwriter in his Fame days and guitarist and keyboardist for the rock group Kansas, a band I always loved because they were progressive rock for kind of the working man. On one hand, they have very complicated arrangements on their albums, but on the other hand, they cranked out hits like Carry On My Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude.
Which is what made them megastars. Then you have Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Now, a woman who grew up Muslim, later jettisoned that to fly under the flag of the new atheist movement. She toured and wrote together with the likes of Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens. Now, what do they have in common? Well, not only did they both come to a place in their lives where they openly profess to follow Christ, they both arrived at that place through active spiritual exploring. Now, at the risk of sounding too simplistic, as a pastor, I've found there are basically two kinds of converts to the Christian faith. What I will call, number one, those who call out for rescue, and two, those who explore their way to the faith. Now, I'd put myself in the category of someone who called out for rescue, but has developed a genuine heart for those who are explorers. Now, the call out for rescue people are just that. Life entangled them in addictions or bad decisions, helplessness, heartache, and like in my own case, just meaninglessness. And they called out for help. That was just that simple. And that's admittedly the majority of people. Now, on the other hand, there are those who are explorers, those who traveled a path that was more cerebral and curious. They asked a lot of questions, maybe even checked out or even embraced other belief systems, but finally concluded Jesus is who he claimed to be, and they followed. Now, if you're not in the first category, I would highly recommend the second category. And there are a few crucial principles to explore that you can learn from both Livgren and Ali. I'm going to give you two. In Kerry Livgren's case, he's like the poster child for a spiritual explorer. You can hear him tell his story on YouTube, or in an autobiography we'll link in the description. But to sum it up, when he was 9 years old, both of his grandmas and a close family friend died inside of 1 week. So he was confronted with death in this massive way at a very young age. And this caused him to ask the big questions starting very early. He goes on to say he had two ambitions growing up. One, he wanted to become a rock star. Two, he wanted to find out the truth and meaning of life. Now, the rock star thing became a reality, but he says it made the second pursuit more intense. The way he went about it was this. He actively explored all the major religions, and he adds a lot of the minor religions too, like the ones that people haven't even heard of. His roadies used to pack a road case to all of his shows that was filled with religious books in the days before digital, obviously. Then he encountered the Bible through a fellow musician that was in a band who opened for Kansas. And Livgren's reaction was, it all sounds true, but I don't like it. I don't want to be that. He didn't want Christianity to be true for lots of reasons. For one, he didn't like what he had seen in the church. He also wasn't interested in changing his rock star lifestyle. But one night, he reached a very important conclusion about exploring. Truth is the goal, not good feelings, positive life experience, or even personal preferences. He said one night in his hotel room, he honestly prayed this prayer: if this is the truth, I don't care. Incredible quote. I forgot I was going to read that off the screen. If this is truth, I don't care if I don't like it. I want the truth. And now he's an open believer ever since. And you should check out his story and his music. When exploring, truth is the goal. Contrary to popular belief, truth is not measured by how it makes you feel. It's not measured by how much happiness or personal satisfaction it brings you. And I believe the Christ-centered worldview will give you both of those things, but it will do those things the same way a lot of things in life work. You see, there's a lot of things about life I know are true and even in my best interest, but I don't necessarily like them. For example, it drives me crazy that it seems like the foods that you're most likely to love, like it's recreation to eat them, say like chocolate ice cream, is on one hand not great for you. Yet broccoli, which is at best like this acquired taste, is good for you. I don't like that fact, but it doesn't change the fact that it's fact. So, principle number 1, explore, but go after the truth, not merely your own personal happiness. Then you have Ayaan Hirsi Ali. She's an example of an explorer who started as a Muslim, became an atheist, but now professes faith in Christ. Now, that's an unusual path. She says it happened for 2 essential reasons, and they both get to another vital principle when it comes to exploring, and that's this. Principle number 2, when you're exploring, think in terms of worldview implications, not just personal implications. Ali says one reason she converted was reflecting on culture as a whole. See, she grew up in Somalia, where she was trained as a Muslim, but later fled to Europe to escape an arranged marriage, and she made it to the Netherlands. There, she leaves the Muslim faith and, among other things, works her way all the way up to serving in the Dutch Parliament. And for a number of years, she labels herself as an atheist. But over time, she developed a concern for where Western culture was going. And she realized increasingly that the values we enjoy in the West, for instance, like free speech and individual rights above and beyond government, were birthed out of the soil of the Christian faith. In other words, she made the connection between how beliefs about the world and the nature of reality have real-life applications across cultures. And values we take for granted in Western society could be in jeopardy if the Christian faith fades into the background much more. The second realization she had was connected to her atheism. She says it this way: I have also turned to Christianity because I ultimately found life without any spiritual solace unendurable, indeed very nearly self-destructive. Atheism failed to answer a simple question: what is the meaning and purpose of life? You see, every worldview, religious and non-religious, will answer questions that are core to the nature of the universe, and the answers have implications for who we are as people and how societies function. For instance, the problem of individual human rights is rooted in the idea that rights are not given by the government, but are acknowledged by and even protected by the government. Well, this assumes there is some reality outside of government giving those rights. That's why Thomas Jefferson used the words, all men are created equal and are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. He had to root the rights outside of government, especially if he wanted to claim they were unalienable, which means they can't be taken away, even by government. Now, on a personal level, Ayaan Hirsi Ali recognized that atheism doesn't answer the question of purpose or meaning of life. Now, why is that? Because atheism necessarily attributes life itself, all of the universe, you, me, everyone, to purely physical, unintended, impersonal, purposeless processes. So, all the way down, life has no ultimate purpose. That is what I mean when I say, when exploring, think in terms of worldview implications, not merely personal implications. If I say the universe is purely physical, that has personal implications, but it also says about life as a whole and everyone living in it, none of this has any ultimate meaning. See, beliefs and our perceptions of ultimate realities really matter to everyday life. Now, if you're intrigued by that kind of thinking and would like to go a whole lot deeper in your exploration of faith and philosophy, I'd encourage you to look at our worldview series called Centered. I think it can help you no matter where you're starting from, whether you're a full Christian believer, atheist, Muslim, you name it. I hope that helps. See you next time.